Be back. Melanie and I went to New Braunfels last week and floated the river, and it was just a good time for both of us to connect. Blaze was with my parents, and so it was just her and I. And I heard that Blake and Felicia were there, and so yeah. But anyway, so it was just such a good time, and there's just times in life where you just got to get away and just, especially if you're married, to have some time with your spouse apart from your kids, and that is such a big deal for Melanie and I. We try to do that actually on a regular basis. We don't go to New Braunfels every weekend, but we try to at least get some alone time. So anyway, we start a new series today called The Heart of It All, and we're going to be talking about the heart, and I'm a little nervous today, man. It's weird. Like, I don't know, it's just normally I'm not this nervous, but I get a little bit of the jitters. So I guess I only had a cup and a half this morning, but normally I have a whole thermos full, but I don't know, I'm a little nervous this morning. And I told Joshua that it was just, I don't think it's the message, I just think it's just the delivery of it. I want it to be right, and I want it to come across lovingly, and I think that there is a little bit of correction in here as well. But we're going to be talking about the heart, and there's so much interesting. In fact, when it comes to the word heart, it occurs over 1,000 times in the Bible, making it the most common anthropological term in the Scripture. Now, if I threw a big word out to you, it's because I meant to. And I will tell you that I had to look it up myself, okay? So anthropological means relating to the study of humankind or mankind. And so when it comes to, in other words, let me reword that a little bit. When it comes, if you were to study, let me reword this, if you were to study the behavior patterns in Scripture, there is one word used more to describe how people act. There is not a word, I should say, there is no other word used to describe the way people act more than the word heart. Okay, so the word heart in Scripture over 1,000 times is connected to behavior. And so it's an interesting study when you get into it. Today I'm going to be talking about just your heart and what God looks for in a heart of a human, and how we tend, I think a lot of times, we can think of it like an organ, but we know that it's connected to our mind. We know that it's connected to our actions. I mean, there's just so many scriptures in the Bible about how out of the heart the mouth speaks, and then what we do comes out of the heart. I mean, there's so many that connect, and I'm going to show you that today. But there's one thing that I want to encourage you to do, and that is, through the whole sermon, is to guard your heart. It says in Proverbs that we're to guard our heart. I'm going to read it to you at the end. Is there anybody that has an alarm on their house? Do you have a house alarm? Do you have a house alarm? Okay, well, let's just minimize that. Do you have a deadbolt on the front door? All right. Is there anybody that doesn't have a lock on the front door of their home? You can raise your hand if you don't have a lock. So that way we know where to go. Right. But there's a lot of times where, in everything, where we guard things, and we put locks on them, and we have alarms on certain things, and people don't know this. I run a route, and I've been given a route now inside of the Houston territory, and there are times where I'm in some shady areas, man, in Houston. I mean, literally, I am in the Heights area where I am around $1 million homes all over the place, and condos that are crazy expensive. And then you literally drive down the street, and there's just homeless people everywhere, and it's just, there's that drastic of areas that I go through, and I'm not going to tell you where, but shoved in a nice little secret area is a handgun right in the back of my company vehicle. I don't even know if it's company policy, but to tell you the truth, I don't really care, because my protection from me and my family is paramount over everything else. So, I mean, we guard things in life that are important to us, and Scripture specifically tells us that we are to guard our hearts. And so what does that mean? How does it look like? Well, let me just kind of set this up. Melanie hadn't got home from work yet. It was Wednesday, and we have a neighborhood kid that comes over the house. I told you before, his name's Caleb. Blaze and Caleb, Blaze gets along a lot better with Carson than he does with Caleb. I mean, him and Carson get along like crazy cool. They play together nicely. Well, Caleb and Blaze are like, I don't know, what is the term? Salt and vinegar, or vinegar and oil? I mean, they're just, I think because it just, at the core of both of them, they're both leaders. They don't even know it yet, but they're both leaders. And so they both want to do things their own way. And so you can hear them sometimes in the room, like, I want to do this, and they're arguing over things. And more than once, I've sent Caleb home because they won't play together nicely. And I've given them warnings. I'm like, look, if I got to deal with this one more time, Caleb, you're gone. And it may not even be your fault. It may be Blaze's fault. But, and it was Wednesday, and Melanie hadn't got home from work yet, and Caleb came over kind of early, and Blaze and Caleb started playing together. Well, my father-in-law just bought Blaze some of these little connection toys where they connect and build things. It's got wheels on it, all this weird connection. It's kind of like, I guess, we had Lincoln Logs and stuff like that when we were kids, but this is more modern. It's got all kinds of different ways that you, and Mama gets home at